Hey, and it's still capping with Dan, bro.
Right now on the come up, lately been talking my stuff because I know I come from the gutter. Then I go pop out in all of this linen like I was a baller. How can you hate me? I'm coming from under, nowhere to sleep. Now I pop out in ballistics, they runners, man, tell us stop tweaking. I was down bad, I know I done it all. I was serving the fiends, let it dissolve. If I got a problem, I'm making one call. While none of your peoples be sliding at all. Like an oven, I'm packing that heat. Only get up with when it's in the sheets. Run to the paper like I'm in the meat. Baby, get on your dick, let me give you a treat. Too much of the drink, it be having me sleep. Too much of the got me ready to grinding for months, I've been grinding for weeks. My uncle told me to just watch for the week, cause they like to sneak. Gucci and Prada be having me dripping.
Everyone's going to wonder at some point in the offseason, who's going to be working the hardest? Who's going to become the next Pascal Siakam, Julius Randle, the guy that's going to take the next step into his game and look like a future star? To me, that guy's got to be Carsen Edwards. Dude, senior year of high school, averaged 26, 5, and 5, which led him to go to pretty much any college he really wanted to. He had a couple really good offers, but he decided to go to Purdue because he wanted to have a bigger role on the team and be a leader of a team. And he really did embrace that leader role. He led Purdue to the March Madness tournament, where he carried them in the tournament and got them 2 big upset wins. Carsen Edwards beat Villanova, and then after that, they beat Tennessee, and then they barely lost to Virginia in the tournament. In the Tennessee game, he had 42 points and really showed everyone how good he could shoot the three-pointer, knocking down 10 threes in a big overtime upset. And in 2017, when he played for Purdue, he went to his Team USA and dropped 36 against Israel, which led the Team USA to a really close win. And they would have lost if it wasn't for Carsen's three-point shooting, which led them sticking with Israel and beating them in overtime. And on draft day, when it was his time, he got drafted in the 2nd round by the Boston Celtics. And for the team that drafted him, he didn't really stand out because they had a lot of draft picks that year. They had like 4, and they picked up a lot of guards. They picked up Carsen, obviously, but before Carsen, they picked up Romeo Langford, and they also picked up Trayvon Waters. And so Carsen really didn't stick out. And, they gave other players in that draft more minutes, like Romeo and Grant Williams. And Carsen really hasn't had much time to prove himself because he's only been in the league for so long, and he hasn't really gotten much minutes with the time he's been given because there have been guards in that team like Kemba Walker, Romeo Langford, like I said, and the new Peyton Pritchardson, who's been getting a ton of minutes off the bench for Boston. I feel like Carsen's definitely a better offensive player than Peyton, but people say Peyton has better defense, but I feel like Carsen's defense will eventually improve. People say he's undersized, but he's not even that short. He's just 5'11", and he can still grow because he's still in his early 20s, so you never really know. But, 5'11", in my opinion, is a good height for a guard. He's a little bit undersized, but I feel like he can make up with that with his three-point shooting and his deadly offensive weapons he's got on his team, like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I don't think Carsen's defense is really going to be a problem because Boston made that big trade with OKC, which got him 2 bigs. They brought back Al Horford. They got a young center, Moses Brown, who's really good in the paint and that defense. And they always had Robert Williams, who's a really good defender and really good at blocking off the backboard. So I feel like Boston's defense is going to be really good this year. So I don't think Carsen would be a liability on defense. And Boston don't really got any point guards right now at the starting spot, so I feel like Carsen could easily take that starting point guard spot because there's really no point guard that's in his way. I could maybe see Marcus Smart being in his way, but I feel like Boston lets Marcus Smart off the bench. And Boston got a brand new head coach, the assistant coach for the Brooklyn Nets, so I think Carsen's going to realize that he has a big opportunity right now in Boston, and I can see him working hard and trying to get that starting point guard spot. And don't forget, Carsen's also shown flashes in the past, especially in his rookie season and in his second year. His rookie year, he dropped 26 against Cleveland in the preseason. And Carsen played really good in his rookie season for Summer League. So, he's shown a lot of flashes. And even in his second year, he dunked on Harden. I don't think people realize how athletic Carsen is. He's dunked on people in college before. And I feel like he's going to show people how athletic and how much good of a shooter he really is. Boston fans are saying they should pick up a point guard like Kyle Lowry in free agency, and I cannot see that. They do not have the cap room to get a player like Kyle Lowry. I don't think they have the cap room to really get any player in free agency this year. They be saying that they're going to trade for a player like Damian Lillard or a CJ McCollum, but they delusional. There's no way they have the cap room to get any of those players. The one player I could see them getting is Lonzo, but at that point, why would you give up a player like Marcus Smart or Robert Williams for Lonzo Ball? add on to the fact it's going to have to be like a package and they'll have to give up some draft picks, I just don't think it's worth trading for Lonzo. I think they should keep Carsen because they already have Evan Fournier, who's a great small forward that can shoot the ball. Why not have a team that's filled with shooters that is really good at defense? That defense with the shooting of Carsen and Evan Fournier, I think that Jalen and Tatum can take that team really far. Because in my opinion, I think both Jalen and Tatum are the best players in the draft class, and it's only going to be a matter of time before they become superstars. I think Boston's starting lineup is going to consist of Carsen Edwards at point guard, Evan Fournier at shooting guard because he's a shooter, and I think that he'd be better off at shooting guard than Jalen. And I think they should have Jaylen Brown at small forward, Tatum at power forward, and Al Horford at center. And now, I was talking about how good this team would be defensively. Now you got to see this team off the bench because their bench starting five, I think this is what Brad was doing with the Moses Brown trade, and you're about to see this. Now, the point guard spot can go really any way. I mean, here's the two people I think could get it. I mean, I think Trayvon Waters could maybe get in there because he's pretty good offensively. He made a couple clutch shots in a couple games for Boston. But here's what the two guys I think that might have the better chance of getting off the bench. I think it might be either Romeo Langford or Peyton Pritchard at point guard. They're both really good defensively. And now, let's see, at shooting guard, we'll have Marcus Smart. He's known for his defense. He's a hustler. Marcus will hustle no matter what, so his team can win. At small forward can also go either way between Semi Ojeleye, a really great defender. He really did do good in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, locking up LeBron for most of that series. Or we can go with Aaron Nesmith, give that team a little bit more offensive firepower off the bench. And then here's where I was talking about defensively, like really crazy. So we all know Robert Williams is like a little bit short for like a center. So run him at power forward and then run Moses Brown at center. I feel like that team would be really tough to score on off the bench. And then just add on to the fact that Tatum, Brown, Edwards, all of those young guys are just developing. You can't forget about the centers like Moses Brown, Robert Williams. Like everyone on that team is developing. And I feel like this team is going to make a nice little run. Like it's going to be unexpected. Like, kind of like how 2018 was kind of unexpected, except for the injuries part. Because we all know in 2018 Kyrie got injured and no one saw him going that far. But this year, I feel like, everyone thinks that the team might not have enough talent, but I think it does. I think Jason, Jalen, I think all those guys, I think that they're going to do good with what they got and, just make a nice little run. And the reason why I feel like they'll make this big run is because of Carsen Edwards. I feel like his firepower on offense is really what's going to turn this team around. And he's been a little bit inconsistent ever since he's gotten into the league, but that's probably just a little bit of just being nervous because, you're playing with a bunch of older people. And I feel like he's, been putting a lot of work in. I mean, I see trainers posting stuff about Carsen Edwards, and I feel like that all this hard work's going to pay off, and I just don't feel like everyone's taking the time to realize how good this guy is, I can see Carsen averaging anything between 15, maybe 14 points. I feel like he can even average 17 to 18 points. I mean, the best I can definitely see Carsen doing is 21 points. I can definitely see him doing that. It just depends on how bad the team performs. Because if the team's performing really bad and Carsen has to step up that much, I can definitely see him dropping 21 points, averaging that, the whole year. Because you can't forget, Carsen is a scorer. This dude can hit shots from anywhere. People all over him, he can hit that three-pointer on anyone like that. I mean, he's a scorer. You got to see what this man has done in Purdue and Team USA. I mean, you got to see what this dude has done. He's done a lot in college. He has scored tough baskets for his team, and that's why he's a winner at the end of the day. And that's why the Celtics picked him up in the second round, because he's underrated. And if you're going to see a guy like Carsen drop that far, then why not pick him up on your team? And I don't think that a lot of people understand that in just one offseason, a whole entire player's career can change just like that. They can end up being a decent player and then become a superstar or become a great role player. Just like that in one offseason. From a lot of hard work, someone can turn into that. And I think Carsen could be one of those stars where it's it took a couple of years for them to get there, but now they're taking the league by storm. And I think that's something that Carsen could do in the future, maybe even in this season. Look at Julius Randle, a player that wasn't really doing much and everyone thought he wasn't really going to be anything. And he also had injuries. But after a while, he got in the gym, he started putting the work, he was asking players for advices, and now look at him, he's dominating with New York. I'm just saying a player's career can change just like that. I mean, I feel like Carsen's going to be one of those players, and I think that the Celtics better look at all the talent they have, because I feel like Carsen Edwards is really, really underrated. I feel like this dude's a stud, and I feel like this team, he can bring that team really far and maybe even win them a championship one day. And this is why Carsen Edwards is going to win Most Improved Player of the Year, because of his three-point shooting, his hard work, his athleticism, and his dedication to the sport. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate if you like and subscribe. It's not often I get any viewers, but I appreciate that you clicked on my video. And I know this is a hot take, but I mean, I believe in this Carsen Edwards kid. I think that he's a hard worker, and I mean, I've watched him, and I feel like that he has a lot of talent, and I think that he's very underrated. And I feel like this year could possibly be his year because of all the hard work he's putting in this offseason. And if you don't believe in Carsen Edwards, all I gotta tell you is watch his college highlights. This kid's insane. And if you don't believe in Carsen Edwards, if it's because of his height or you just think he's inconsistent, don't be surprised if he proves you wrong, because I mean, hard work pays off. And if you take the time to see what's going on, you can definitely see that Carsen Edwards is putting a lot of work into his game.